Yo, what's poppin', everyone? We are Minds That Matter. I'm your girl, Tassie Janae Jones. We got my girl, Shamoni.
Hey, hey, hey.
And we also got my dog, Nicole.
What's good?
What's good? What's good? What's really good? So today's episode, we definitely want to talk about relocation. We want to talk about the different things that people should think about when it comes to relocating, our personal experiences with relocating, and just giving you guys some advice on if you guys are deciding or contemplating on relocating to either a different city, a different town, across the country, outside the country, like just relocation period or in general. Tips to be prepared. And if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to us so we can assist you and provide you with the right resources.
Most def. If you guys like the content we're bringing, make sure you remember to like, subscribe, and comment to all the podcast content at Minds That Matter.
Cool. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Being that all three of us have relocated
More than once,
exactly. You guys are both now residing in Texas. And I just kind of want to know what, I'm going to ask Tassie first.
Yes.
What prompted you to make this big move to Texas?
Okay. I do want to say that I relocated twice. I relocated at 18 from one city to another. It was in the same state. But then I recently made a huge decision and relocated states from California to Texas. What prompted that decision was my spouse. He had gotten a promotion. We thought it was a huge deal, a great opportunity to get the fuck up out of Bakersfield. We was like, we out of here. I wasn't all gung-ho about it, though. I was extremely nervous. I was extremely apprehensive, I think is the word for it.
Yes, that's the word.
That's the word. Word up. So word up. I was not super excited to relocate at first because I was born and raised in California. I think it was a great state to be in. I know it's hella expensive, but it's either that or tornadoes, right? So I was like, that's the first thing that just...
What eased your fear about moving?
I said I would visit first. My husband said, try to be open-minded because he's from the South. He's from Louisiana.
Really?
And he's like, it's cheap, it's nice. There's lots of things to do here. It's good food. And just be open-minded and visit and see if you like it. If you like it and you think that's a place where our family can be and live and you're comfortable and you think you can prosper. Because he was concerned because he was like, just because I got a promotion, I know you want to elevate yourself in your career. If you see yourself doing that here as well, like this is where we can be. And so I think that's fine.
This move was definitely necessary for growth.
Absolutely. So that's why I took his advice and I visited first. I visited the place. I wanted to see my surroundings and the area that we were going to live and be at, and prosper, because it is necessary for growth. Like if you want to, have different opportunities that aren't available in the current situation or place you're at, I highly recommend relocating and getting those opportunities because ain't nobody going to hand them to you.
That's a fact. Shannon, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah.
What prompted you to move, and was that move necessary for growth?
Most definitely necessary for growth. Mine was more so for just mental growth, though, more than anything. I keep saying it, but I think it's because I'm in the process. I have been on a spiritual, mental, overall wellness journey, for the last 6 or 7 months or so. And for me, I relocated 3 times. Once when I first turned 18, I moved away to Northridge, which is in California. Then I left Northridge, went back home. Then I relocated back to the Northridge area where I moved to Van Nuys. And I was there for a year and a half or so. And then I moved back home because it's expensive shit and just because of family.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
I know it's right.
LA is fucking, if people have never been to LA, and I've met a ton of people out here in Texas who've never been to LA, it's really expensive.
That shit is mad expensive.
It's really fun though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always something to do. But I was stressed, so I went home. Excuse me. And then plus, some other stuff happened in my family, so I had to go back anyway. So yeah, I did that, and then I lived in Bakersfield from 2012 up until September of this year. And then I relocated to Texas. Me and Tassie are not in the same area, but we're in the same area. Like, it's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah, Texas is big.
Texas is huge. Especially
I heard everything's bigger in Texas.
It is bigger and rounder. No, I'm playing. Anyway.
Okay.
I just had to throw that in there.
La 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 barbecue.
But, me and Tassie live in the same, like, quote unquote area, but we don't live close to each other. Like, Tassie lives like maybe like 45 minutes to an hour from me, depending on traffic. So, but when I came to Texas, it was more so like I needed to clear my head. I needed to get away from what I'm used to. I'm one of those people, like, I don't like to be in an area. I'm private, but I'm not private. Like, I like my privacy, but I'm a very open person, if that makes sense.
Got you. Yep.
In Bakersfield, I felt like I had no privacy. Like, everybody knew who I was. And if you didn't know me by name, you knew my siblings or you knew my family. Flat out.
You can be your own person out here.
Yes, I can create my own identity. I also wanted a space just for me to be able to focus on myself. And there was other opportunities and things here that I wanted to pursue. So I moved.
So you absolutely think that the decision to move was also necessary for growth,
it was most
like,
definitely
mentally
necessary.
for you?
Yeah, for me, yes, most definitely.
Oh, okay.
I like that. Those are very, very good answers. I appreciate.
What about you, Nicole? Why you relocate?
Yeah, what prompted you to relocate, Nicole?
Because I can.
Because you grown.
No, but so I first moved right out of high school, 2010. I went to college in the Bay Area. And then I lived there for about 4 years, came back to Bakersfield, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, started getting shit together. Then moved all the way across country to New Jersey. And I was originally going to move to Florida to go to school, but some shit didn't necessarily work out. So, you know how that goes. But ultimately, I think I relocated for school, number one, but the opportunities that living in a new city and or state would afford me. So I would definitely say that relocating helped me grow as a person. I started to become more open. I was living in
I would agree with that.
Bakersfield, I was a lot more reserved and closed-minded. I was also just not friendly, and living in the Bay, that started to change slowly. But like once I found a few people that I was cool with, then I became reserved again, Then I decided that when I moved to New Jersey, I was going to be different. I was going to be a lot more open and be friends with everybody, go out. And I did that, and it just became exhausting because that's not the type of person I am. I realized that I'm really an introvert, and I prefer to stick to myself and do small, intimate gatherings versus being out a lot. But I think that me moving was definitely necessary for growth because I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And so I've relocated for the third time after coming back from New Jersey, going back to Bakersfield to settle down for a few minutes. And then now I live in Southern California. So I think that for me, like, relocating is not a problem. I'm not scared to relocate. I think it's definitely something necessary to grow. And I encourage everybody to experience living away from their hometown for months to years at a time, just for the experience. Of course, obviously, like, work and stuff like that, but the experience and growth and what it's going to do for you personally is definitely worth it.
Would you say that, because a lot of people told me when I relocated, they were like, oh, it's easy to do because she ain't got no kids. Do you think that even if you had kids, you would relocate? Because I know Tassie, we all know Tassie has a kid and she relocated, but that was what was good for her family. So if you had kids, would you relocate even if that was necessary for your family as well? Or would you want to be more grounded?
I would still relocate. And then I would just become grounded wherever the fuck I land.
Yeah.
I don't think that me having a family would necessarily stop that. It might slow the process down, but ultimately, I think it's still something that can be done. Just I have to move a lot smarter. versus if it's just me, I can get up and do whatever the fuck ever. But ultimately with a family, I have to think about other people, not just myself. I can't be selfish or inconsiderate. But
And that's
it
some things
definitely needs to
people
be
need to
done.
think about too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. Like, so for people who do have families and they're thinking like, man, how am I gonna make this move? I mean, just plan it out. You don't have to move
That
tomorrow.
will relieve so much stress if you have an actual strategy or plan. Give yourself weeks, even months. I recommend
planning for months.
Months ahead of time,
being very strict and sticking to the timeline and the strategy and the plan, and then things are likely to fall into place.
So
just don't get discouraged.
Things you have to think about if you have kids, if you're relocating, of course, is first the area you're going to move into. It's 2018. If you have an address, you found the right price for whatever, you've been approved for an apartment or a house, or you're purchasing a home, or you're renting out a home or whatever, and you have an address, you can Google Earth it and look around that neighborhood from the comfort of your home nowadays. That's a good place to live. And then you can check the crime rate in that specific area nowadays, and check the
school ratings.
Check the school ratings and the school districts. You can check the reviews from today's parents to see how that school district is going to affect your child in that specific neighborhood, and if it's a good fit for you and your child. I also suggest when you visit that place, go visit the school that you're considering putting your kids in place into, because you don't want to just push them on because this is where you've decided to live. Like, you have to make sure whatever decision you're making when you relocate for you and your family is best for you and your family.
Speaking of family, what about like not necessarily like your immediate family? What about your extended family? How is it with you guys relocating for them? Because I know my family, my immediate family took it hard. Like, I honestly think now they're still kind of readjusting to it. And I talk to them like every day, but it's still like not enough because they can't see me physically,
Yeah.
Making enough.
Oh, well, my immediate family was crushed at first. Like, my mom, she was just like, oh my gosh, my baby is leaving. I'm coming to Texas. And then my sisters was super hurt. Especially my older sister, like Janelle, was just like, why the fuck are you leaving? Like, this sucks. And she ended up moving out here. So now everything is great. Like, I'm so happy she's here. It makes everything so much better. My in-laws, God bless my mother-in-law soul, she passed away right when we were moving here. She was hurt, like, because she and my daughter were a very, 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 very close. They were extremely close. So she was just like, oh my gosh, my stinker butt is like moving. But then she ended up supporting us, and she was the one that recommended that, yeah, go out there and taste some of the food, and this is what you got to try when you get out there. And she was the one telling me like the different things to do in the South. Girl, you got to try Waffle House, like, like, so stuff like that. And then everyone, like, as soon as, like, when we suggested it, I think some people didn't even believe we were gonna do it.
I think my family too, like, legit. I think once the day came and like they were like, "Oh, we're
legit going, like, today's the day. Goodbye." Like,
I literally packed my car and dipped.
Yes,
like, and I planned it that way, and a lot of people didn't know that, but like, I literally packed my car.
You was gone like
I
the
left
ghost.
Everything else there. Like, I left all my furniture that I had paid for, and like built my own little apartment behind, like, around and shit like that. I left everything and just came.
See, and that's another thing that people have to think about when they're relocating. So you have to decide what's worth taking and what's worth leaving or selling. So do you want to buy a bunch of new stuff when you get to your new location, or do you want to take everything with you? Because if you're trying to move everything with you, they can do what you did, pack it all into the car and then go wherever they're going.
Some people, but that could be an extra expense,
Yes. So now you have to do the expenses on either what you're keeping with on extra boxes and stuff and space, truck rentals and fees and mileage, hotel stays, depending on how far you're going, and gas,
right,
food. And that's why it's important, like we said, months and months of advance planning, because you don't want to overspend on this move by dropping everything and just leaving.
Exactly. So I want to know, what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced during the process of relocating?
I feel like my challenge more so came like during a little bit and more so after. So like a little bit right when I had decided I was moving, I immediately I prayed first of all because
Yes, Lord.
that was just like the
That's
first
first.
to confirm I was doing the right thing. So I prayed, put in my 2 weeks notice. I stayed with my family for about a month just to kind of help transition them. Especially my nieces and my niece and my nephew, because I'm really, really close to them. And then also my extended family, because I'm really close to them. They're used to seeing me like dang near every day. So I stayed with them, hung out with them, make sure I had spent a lot of time with them because I knew it was going to be a while before I went back to see them. And I was waiting because I have 2 different retirement accounts because I worked for the state in California, or not state, for the county. And I cashed out one of my retirement accounts so that way I could just have extra cash in my pocket because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get a job, which it shouldn't have took me long because I'm employable, but at the same time I just want to be prepared. So packed my apartment, put everything in storage. I stayed with my family for a month, and then the date came. I drove to Vegas. I met my boyfriend. He flew into Vegas, and he drove me here to Texas. And yeah. So
for those that don't know, that's a 21, 22-hour drive.
Yeah,
shout out to Bradley.
Yeah, he drove me here. So I did that, and it was raining too. That was crazy. That was the challenge. It was raining. It was cold. We was in that car. We was cramped. Like the actual drive was like, it wasn't bad, but that was the hard part.
Like, that shit sound bad to me.
Yeah, that was the hard part. Like that drive, because we left Vegas like at 11 in the afternoon, like in the morning, afternoon, and we got to Texas, like to the city we live in, at like 7 in the morning.
Whew.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like a hell of a drive. But
I remember that day too. We was texting. I was like,
we was like, are you okay?
Send me your
location. Send me your location, Shannon. Send me your location again.
Yeah.
Shannon, why you ain't answering the phone, dog?
Like it was wild.
Check in, Shannon.
So the drive was the actual kind of like hard part for us. And then like when I first got here, part of the reason for me relocating is sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit codependent. And like I said, I've been on this personal journey. Like I got to get myself right all the way around. And so I got a job, but it was me staying at home to work. And part of the way you cope with moving to a different place is you go to meet new people naturally. And you do that through work or school or whatever may have you. And I was just stuck in the apartment by myself. And I was just like, this shit is getting depressing. Like, I can't.
Right. Got to get the fuck out of here.
Look at these walls. So I had to literally make myself like go out. And even if I was just going to the store up the street to familiarize myself with the area that I live in. So that was kind of hard for me because typically I like to stay in my little bubble, but I don't know nothing here. So I don't have a bubble.
Right.
So I kind of have
to get out and create that bubble.
Yeah. So that part was a little bit hard for me, was the readjusting refraction period. But now I'm good. Like I still have to use GPS to get some places, but that's because Texas is big as hell. Like I still use the GPS to go to Tasi house. Like when I do that.
Shit, I
use the GPS to your house too. And I've been here a minute.
Over there, like, it's a lot of merging, like a lot of freeway exits and shit, or no?
Yeah, it's hella exits, hella tolls. Like,
For me, it's not that many freeways. It's like 1 or 2. It's just a long time because he's completely south of me.
I can take about 4 different freeways and like 2 or 3 different ways to go to Tasi's house.
First of all, if you got to get on more than one freeway to get to somebody's house, they live too goddamn far.
Yeah,
like,
I told you. I got to take like 2 freeways to get to her house.
I have to take 2 freeways too. But I wanted to discuss some challenges for myself too. First was being homesick. Like if you are like a close-knit family or you've been somewhere for a long time and everyone you know and love is somewhere and you're out here by yourself, you're going to get homesick. Like that was such a challenge. But for me, I used to work for the county too in California. So I cashed out my retirement as well to have some money in my pocket. My husband, he had to start his promotion. So he moved out here to Texas first and he was living out here. And it was a long distance relationship for us for like a month or 2 because I was still in California raising my daughter until I could finish off work and then she could finish off school and then I can transition. But I had a blessing. I had an interview while I was still in California. They did a phone interview with me and then they wanted to meet me in person. My husband had finally got our apartment situation settled out in a very nice neighborhood out here in Texas. So I flew to do my interview in Texas, and then I settled in Texas, and I got to do my interview, and I left with a job. So that was a blessing. When it was finally time to move, my husband had already developed the foundation for us here in Texas. He didn't want me to have to literally worry about a thing. He just wanted me to just get here comfortably and stay here, because he had to do the drive by himself to get, because we have 2 cars. So he had the first car, he drove all the way out here by himself. Then he flew back out to California, came and got me. We bought tickets, and then he and I flew out here, and then he settled me into our new place. Then he flew back to California, got my daughter settled, and moved all of our stuff, and then drove our second car out to Texas with our daughter. And that was a huge challenge, getting both my vehicles to one location, making sure our family was settled in. Then I had to register my daughter in a new school district and go meet the new teacher and principals. Registering for health insurance out here is different than California.
Completely different. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Thank God my job pays for it.
Thank God, right? Insurance. So you have to make sure if you do get a job out here, and that's something to focus on when you're relocating. Don't do what's called shopping, where your resume is plastered everywhere and your employer notices that you're not being serious, unless it works for you. If that works for you, fine. But if your resume is tied to a certain job market, I recommend focusing on that specific job market and employers, and trying to obtain some type of employment prior to moving. Or if you get here, that's the first thing you need to do, because you're going to need some source of income in order to settle comfortably when you relocate. But that was a challenge. I came out here with the job, so everything was good, but applying for healthcare and insurances out here, learning the policies when it comes to like traffic in this new state, because every state has different traffic laws and different policies and requirements, and learning the culture, adjusting to this weather, because this weather and climate is totally different. There was a lot of challenges.
I'm gonna throw that one out there, because you called it. Like, legit, my hands ain't never been as dry as they've been when I'm like,
man, no, that's real though. When I lived in New Jersey, bruh, my hands were just flaking dry.
Oh my God, my knuckles ain't never been crusty until I got to Texas. Like,
that cold air is something else.
Yeah,
I think I'm like super oily, because I have not experienced that yet.
Maybe your skin is oily, because my skin is already dry. But like, also I was interning at a hospital, and so like I'm constantly washing my hands all the time, and I'm going outside, and I'd have my gloves on some of the days, and it's just like my hands are just exposed to the elements. The wind chill was like 6 degrees. It was just like too much,
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of challenges.
So what are some of the positive aspects that you have found in relocating?
Oh, it's the best. It's definitely the good outweighs the bad for me in my relocation experiences. Like, even when I relocated to Northridge and when I relocated here to Texas, you have better experiences. Like, I met new people out here. I have a great job. I feel like the opportunities out here are great. Me personally, here in Texas, the gas is cheaper out here than California. I just paid $1.77 a gallon. How much is it in California right now?
I just fucking paid in Lancaster like $3.30 or $3.29 or some shit.
Even at Walmart
for $1.69, bro.
I'm on somebody.
Yo, Trevor just posted something the other day that said gas was like $1.66 where he was.
I'm telling you.
I'm like, this is a fucking joke.
I'm not going.
I'm not come back.
But bro, I'm like, I need to get down south and fill the fuck up. Like,
I'm telling you.
Get a couple of tanks. Like, when I went back home to Bakersfield, the gas was a lot cheaper too. It was like, I gassed up for $2.99, and I was like, I'm dead ass still paying $3 fucking in Lancaster.
You closer to LA, that's why.
Yeah. This is stupid though. I don't care where the fuck I'm at.
This
like, nobody
me.
It's beyond me, big fella. Like, I am hot. I'm like, okay, I've been putting it off today. I was like, should we get some gas? Nah. Wait till Sunday. I'm gonna put that down a little bit.
Don't push through.
I'm like, fuck this. Like,
oh man, it's too much. But yeah, like even like a gallon of milk out here is $1.29. Like it's
I
just
pay $4 for my milk.
I'm trying to tell you, like the economy out here is better.
But I also get organic milk too, so that's why.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, so I could be paying some cheaper, but I'm not.
But you healthy, that's good.
I'm trying to be,
There's a lot to do out here too, and it's really fun.
Hold on, sidebar. I paid $1.65 for almond milk, so Nicole, it might not be.
Ooh.
I don't really like almond milk.
Almond milk is
I've been buying this like Horizon organic milk, and that shit like $4. In New Jersey, it was like damn near $5, but out here, I think it's like pushing 4 or something.
You know what? Next time I'm at the store, I'm gonna look for it and take a picture and show you.
Show me.
It ain't $4.
It probably ain't $4 out there. I believe it. But I don't know. I'm being bougie, and this shit lasts a long ass time too. Like your milk don't go bad in 2 days, so that's what I really like.
That's true. That's really good. But positive things. There's a lot to do out here. It's cheap. It's family oriented. People are amazing and nice that we've experienced so far. And I just feel like it was such a good move for our family. We have so much to do. We enjoy the climate. It's crazy. Like the weather changes all the time. But my daughter has like a hard time breathing sometimes, and she breathes a lot better out here than she was, particularly in the place we were living, because Bakersfield has a lot of gas, oil, and pollution.
A lot of horrible air quality.
Horrible air quality. And so she, it's a better environment for her. I just think that if someone is deciding to relocate, first, wherever you're relocating, do pros and cons list to see why do you want to leave, what's good here, and then what's good here, and what's the cons here, like pro and con list. So you can't just really relocate anywhere. You don't want to relocate somewhere worse, and then you're stuck in a worse situation.
Right.
You definitely want to make sure wherever you're deciding to move is a step up. You're trying to level up, y'all. Level up. Level up.
So Shannon, what's your piece of advice for relocating, for anybody thinking about relocating?
Like I said, weigh out the pros and cons, because like I took a pay cut, but even with me taking the pay cut, because they don't have state taxes, I make more than I did in California. I take home more than I did in California. So, like that's one of the things, like, okay, yeah, you took a pay cut, but you bring home more every month. So I mean, essentially that's a pro, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Also, make sure when you do relocate, if you're going by yourself, make sure you can find yourself like a niche, like you can be comfortable being by yourself, or you can find you somebody to kind of be your companion in times of need, because that'll help you become stronger in your independence. Like for me, going to see Tassie has allowed me to go further stretches from me wanting to go home. I do get homesick occasionally, especially because, like I said, I'm very close to my niece and my nephew. But when I get around Tassie's family that is here, it kind of helps me stay stronger, because it's like,
you're welcome to be with us, boo.
Yeah, it's like I still got a little bit of a community here. Also, too, my boyfriend's family is amazing. Yeah, they welcome me in open arms, like, so that helps too, because I have somebody that I can go talk to or be around when I need to. Also, familiarize yourself with what you need in the area. So like for me, I go to Walmart, Winco, Target, all these places.
Shout out to Winco.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. All these places are literally like within a 5-mile radius of my house. I go to on the regular. Okay. So familiarizing yourselves, making yourself your own little family, essentially, so that way you can become comfortable and be more mentally stable in what you're trying, in the process that you're trying to get accomplished. And also just weighing out the pros and cons, like for the job, for instance, like Tassie said, like even though it was essentially a pay cut, it still benefited me more to be here than it did in California. And then also because the economy is a lot stronger, it allows me to benefit more from my money. I can get more bang for my buck. Also, the housing market out here,
amazing.
Oh, girl, let me tell you.
My piece of advice for anybody relocating is to be secure in your decision and not to let the opinion of other people affect your decision to move, whether it's friends or family or strangers that have something to say. I think that a lot of times that's something that holds people back because they're afraid about what other people are going to say about their decision, or they're afraid that people won't accept their decision, mainly like close friends and family members. But in reality, you need to do what's best for you, and you are the only person that can make decisions on your behalf. So I think that reminding people to only focus on the positives and not letting the opinions of other people's affect their decision to move or feel good about their decision to move. I think that's something that I would tell people to worry about,
Yeah. I have a ton of advice. I know we got to wrap things up, but
we'll give the most important piece.
Okay, so first, ask for help if you need it. Because if you are confused and you know you need to relocate, there's a lot of people, including ourselves, we've relocated before. Ask for help. If you know someone who's switched jobs before, or lives in a certain area, or you have family or friends who live in the area that you're living in, or if you're on your own doing it, just ask for help, ask for an assistance. It's okay to hear people's opinion, but like Nicole said, their validation on you moving or not shouldn't weigh your specific decision. Make sure you start a packaging timeline. Like I cannot stress this enough. Dropping everything and just going somewhere is not the best way to relocate. Give yourself some time and some planning to make sure that you are making sure this is the best move, the smartest move for you or your family or whoever's relocating. It's really important to make sure that if you are, like, say you're driving, you don't overspend. Make sure you can pack all of your things either in your car, or if you're going to pack it up in a truck or something, or whatever way you plan on transporting all of your items and things, make sure it's all packaged good. If you can put snacks in the car and eat, try to do that as well. If you can afford to stop at certain restaurants on your way, wherever you're going, that's fine too. But I just recommend not overspending, because you're going to need to spend when you get there. And then that's important too. Once you get to where you're relocating, make sure you unpack your things first, instead of just running straight to Target and Walmart and everything first, because then you're going to get a bunch of things you may not need when all this stuff is probably in your boxes and you just need to unpack. And people can delay unpacking.
Boy, I still got shit lined up. I've been in my apartment for a couple of months and I ain't unpacked a lot.
I'm telling you, it took us a while to unpack, and that's like a really big deal. Another thing that helped me when I relocated that I recommend is, it's 2018. There's so many resources available. I recommend joining a Facebook group that's in your neighborhood or your area, because once I joined the neighborhood Facebook or whatever, the community keeps me updated in regards to what's going on around here. What's the best places to go for certain things? Like if you want to get the best deals on how to get your car fixed, or the necessities, or even restaurant recommendations, or if there's a certain situation that's happened in the neighborhood, everyone's alert and everyone communicates. So join a Facebook group or blog or something that lets people so that you get to know what's going on in the neighborhood that you're relocating to. Tell somebody where you're going. Do not just jump and run or go somewhere and relocate without letting at least one or two people know where you are going. That's not safe. Somebody needs to know where you are at all times. And when Shannon relocated, she had screenshotted like her address, her man's name, his family's name,
that man social. We got all his business.
So, like all the information. Like she was not playing, because she was coming here by herself with a new person that we didn't know well yet. So it was like important that we knew exactly where she was at, her new address. This is like all the information. At the end of the day, my point is, the objective is to be safe, plan ahead. Make sure if you're making this decision, reevaluate it and make sure it's not just good for yourself. If you're moving with others, it's good for you and your family, or you and your child, or whoever you're going with. Definitely, if it's in regards to relocating in a job, apply yourself the right way with the right field. Make sure you find some source of income immediately so that you're successful in your relocation.
Have that first.
Handle that first. Yes, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Because some people relocate and they're like stay at home like moms and stuff. So like hopefully the father, husband, or whoever,
somebody gotta have a job.
Somebody has to have some moolah. So
somebody gotta be established.
Some guap, Gouda, cheese.
We need a little bit more security.
Cheese means cheddar.
So when you're relocating, the premise of what we're trying to say is make sure it's for personal growth or financial growth, preferably both. If you can make it happen, make sure you prepare, plan ahead, budget, do anything you need to do to get it done, and then also just be safe and smart about it. Give some people your information, make your whereabouts known, so that way you're not in this situation alone, and find yourself a community. If it's joining a Facebook group, if it's finding people that you work with, any of those things can help.
Research.
Yeah, can help you essentially get the job done, so that way you're successful in your relocation.
Yes.
Well, if you guys like the content we're bringing, feel free to join the conversation and help it continue. Comment in the description below. Whoa. Comment in the description below. Let us know if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to help us out with some topics, feel free to throw some ideas out there. Do us a favor and join us on all social media platforms. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And subscribe to all the podcast content. And remember, we are
Minds That Matter. Peace, y'all.